Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host, Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host, Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Today is going to be a scary program. Is that good? Yeah. Good for you? Maybe? Kind of get your blood moving. I'm going to talk about some of the scariest words and scariest phrases in the English language. At least I think they're pretty scary. How about you've been hacked? Don't click this link. Scammers, phishing, cyber attacks. Do I have your blood kind of flowing right now? How about your account has been compromised? Now that's kind of sounds innocent enough, your account has been compromised, but it really means you've been attacked. On the program, we're going to talk about crimes such as identity theft. We're going to talk about what is identity theft. We're going to talk about how can we prevent it. And if you've been hacked, scammed, attacked, what can you do about it? We're going to talk with Mark Medley. He is the president and founder of ID Theft Resolutions, and he is here to tell us that he is trying to protect New Mexicans like you and me, because even your house can be stolen these days. Can you believe it? I'm not talking about trucking it away and driving it down the highway. We're talking about thieves getting your title and stealing your home. So please, if I haven't scared you yet, I'll scare you right after this. Please stay with us.
The National Education Association of New Mexico, a union of teachers and school staff, believes every child deserves to learn at a school that inspires their imagination, cultivates their curiosity, and ensures a fulfilling life. Public schools should provide all our students with small class sizes and one-on-one attention. NEA New Mexico asks you to join us so together we can end the teacher and staff shortage and invest in our public education system once and for all. Sponsored by NEA New Mexico.
Welcome back to the program. You probably heard of some things we can do to protect our identity. Things such as, if you've been compromised, change your credit cards. What a hassle that is, right? Because you have everything now connected to your credit card. You can also secure your Social Security card, and plus there's a lot more things, but I'm not the expert on it. I've just been researching the website of Mark Medley and ID Theft Resolutions right here in New Mexico. It's a nonprofit to help you and me keep safe. Unlike Mark, he was attacked in 2001.
Correct, yeah.
And it still might not be resolved, but anyways, take it away, Mark Medley, the president and founder of ID Theft Resolutions. What in the world happened to you?
Yes, I was at the Summerfest in 2001, and I was downtown with some friends and having a good time. I went home, went to bed, woke up the next morning and realized my wallet wasn't with me. So I looked all over the place in my car, all over the house, and that I couldn't find it. So I did what everybody else does. You call and cancel your credit cards and such. And then I also went down and filed a police report just stating that my wallet had been
Sure.
lost or stolen.
Okay.
And that same week, and at about Wednesday of that week, I started getting letters in the mail from attorneys stating that they would represent me in the court of law on the felony charges that I had been arrested on. So I picked one of the letters out of the stack.
And this is scary. This is telling our viewers about, it's kind of scary to get a letter from an attorney saying, I will defend you in a felony.
Exactly. So I called one of the attorneys, told him what happened. He said, Mr. Medley, you don't need to hire an attorney at this point. You need to go down to the Bernalillo County Jail, find out if they have a Mark Medley incarcerated there. If they do, don't tell them who you are. Go over to the courthouse and find out when that person's court date is. So that's what I did. And lo and behold, they did have somebody incarcerated in the jail under my name.
Under your name, not another Mark Medley, but it was someone under your name.
Under my name.
Okay. Oh, so this person just gave your name when they were being booked?
Correct, yes. So I picked my jaw up off the ground, composed myself, and walked over to the courthouse and found out that the person's court date was on September 11th, 2001 at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, showed up for court. Obviously, that didn't happen because of what happened on September 11th. And so
when America was attacked. So you
Correct.
were attacked, but our whole country was attacked.
Correct. So
In various places, okay.
The court date was rescheduled for some October
Okay.
16th, I believe. So I showed up for court that day along with one of the assistant district attorneys, and the person who stole my identity was there, and I introduced myself to the judge, told him what happened, and he said, "Mr. Medley, at this time the court can't do anything because there's no charges. I didn't file a police report stating identity theft against that person." So he just looked at the person and said, I'm just going to call him Mr. M, don't ever do that again, blah, blah, blah. And so I walked out of the court, very disappointed. And
Well, I mean, but that person, if they had stolen your name, they are the ones who may have been in contact with someone who had your wallet and your ID.
Correct, right. They never found I talked to the arresting officer, they never found my wallet on him, and they never found my identification on him. Apparently he had memorized my name, address, information, and just gave it to the
Or someone could have sold it to him.
Or
right?
somebody could have sold it to him.
So what happened then?
So
And I'm kind of shocked that someone who stole your name, the court system seemed to take it so lightly and just
Right.
with a little slap on the hand saying, "Don't do that again, Mr. Criminal." That's
so
pretty shocking.
I just started the search in trying to figure out how to clear all the felonies that were showing up on my record with the
Felonies
police
such as
department.
what?
Possession of a stolen vehicle, possession of burglary tools, tampering with evidence. I don't know. When I go to the Department of Public Safety and I get a background check run, a nine-page report with 8 different aliases and a slew of felonies shows up. It's like a laundry list of stuff.
So again, someone more than just one person had your name, your social security, your address.
Could have, yeah.
Unless there's one very, very active criminal.
Right, exactly. So what happened next was I started the search on trying to figure out how to clear this up. I went, one day, I went downtown and I went from one office to another office to another, and in 2 hours, I started at one point, went to 4 or 5 different other places, and I literally ended up at the same place that I started out 4 or 5 hours later. I
After
made
they
a
told
circle.
you go there, go to this
Yeah,
department,
right.
go.
Nobody knew what to do.
Nobody knew what to do. They just
Yeah.
sent you all around a big circle. Okay.
Correct. So, to be honest with you, and this is what happens with a lot of victims of identity theft, after a while, I just gave up. It's like, forget it, this is, futile. And so I went for 6 or 7 years with this guy's, with this stuff on my record. So what happened next was a lady moved into my neighborhood. I found out that she worked for the city of Albuquerque, and I went over to her house. At this point, I had a binder full of stuff that I had accumulated about the case. And I went over to her house and I told her what happened, and she said, "Give me this, 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 and this." She went to, took it to to work, and within a week or so, everything with the city had been cleared up. All the records.
Of course, that's 7 years later.
7
when
years
they
later.
Learned a little bit more about identity theft.
Correct. So
Did they compromise any of your credit cards? Did they steal any money?
no, it was all criminal.
Just all
Yeah,
criminal.
it was all criminal. Everything had to do with my criminal record.
Okay.
He didn't use any of my accounts. He didn't use any of my credit cards.
When did you decide to be the founder and president of ID Theft Resolution?
Well, in 2009 is when I I learned about the law, the ID theft passport, and I collected information about it, that had, from other states. And I went to Senator Ortiz-Pino, and we submitted Senate Bill 500 to the legislature, and it passed and was signed into law. And
that's called the ID theft
passport.
Passport.
Yes, where you can get a police report filled out stating identity theft. Then the law enforcement agency that you filled the report out with uploads that information into the ID theft victims database that is housed by the Attorney General's office but monitored by the Department of Public Safety. And then once it's uploaded into that system, you can go to a state-run motor vehicles department, ask a manager to look in the system to make sure you're in the system, and once they verify that, you can get the V endorsement, V victim of identity theft, on the back of your driver's license. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. And what that does is if I'm pulled over and something that the person did comes up when they run my driver's license, it'll alert the officer that you were a victim of identity theft, and you probably weren't the person who committed the crime that's showing up. And there's steps that they take. The most obvious one is if the mugshot of the person showing up on their screen doesn't match the face that they're looking at. It's a pretty good indicator of of what's happened.
Had you ever been pulled over since?
Knock on wood, no.
Okay, you must not be one of the notorious speeders we have here in New Mexico. Okay.
No,
but again, on the back of your driver's license says V for victim of identity theft. So the police officer pulls you over and they say, "Oh, we got an escaped felon here." Good chance it will not be.
Correct. So to get back to your question, I decided all this information that I learned about identity theft, how it happens, and what to do if you've had your identity stolen, and going through the process of getting the law passed through, about the ID theft passport program, I decided to start a nonprofit organization to help people that are going through what I did. So, because one of the most frustrating parts about being a victim of identity theft is oftentimes when you go to places or people don't know what to do, where to start.
Exactly. And before we go into what to do, where to start, how to prevent it, in basic terms, what is identity theft? Let's start with that, Mark Medley.
In the simplest terms, it's when somebody steals one or more of your identifiers, name, address, social security number, date of birth. They only need 2 of those pieces of information. When they steal that information and use it fraudulently to open up an account, to commit a crime, to purchase something in your name, that's identity theft.
I think oftentimes we know of the credit card theft, and doing research for this program, I found that 60% of identity theft has to do with somebody opening a bank account or a credit card in your name and using your credit, but 40% perhaps do other things, and that's 3.3 million thefts other than just your credit card theft.
Right.
And that's a big enough hassle in itself, changing your credit card. But there's so much phishing now on the computer, so much. Even recently on my computer, I had Amazon stating, we're going to be closing your account because you haven't, because I think you're late in some payment or something. And I thought, I haven't used Amazon for a couple of years. And I did not click the link, but I did contact Amazon, and I got another one from Wells Fargo about an account. It looked very official, scary official, meaning this is truly a Wells Fargo account. Email, contacted them, say no, it is not. So I've been taught, don't click on
Yeah.
things. Don't click.
You did exactly the right thing. Don't click on it. And
But you're tempted to click.
Of course.
'Cause it says you need-
It's like a knee-jerk reaction, you know.
Well, because we're going to close your account because of XYZ. It's like, wait, I didn't do it.
Right. People
so
just-
don't click.
Don't click. Yeah. And so you did exactly the right thing. If you're contacted by somebody saying that they're from a company and that they need your they need to get personal information from you, hang the phone up, contact the company on your own and say, I've gotten this call from your company and the person was asking for this information. Is this something that you do? And the answer will be no. They don't.
So Mark, if it's happening to it must be happening so much more. And these are scammers and thefts not from the United States. They're from
all over the world.
all over.
Right.
Middle East, Philippines, Hong Kong, China. I mean, very, very sophisticated, but you know much more than I. I've just been contacted a few times, and
Right.
it looked so darn good.
It does. It looks good and it's very tempting.
Very
If
tempting, yes.
I learned a saying from the Attorney General's office. If something sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. If somebody calls you up and says that you've won the lottery and you have millions and X amount of dollars coming to you, but in order to get that money, you need to give us this information. Red flags. No.
Red flag.
It's not gonna
and not
happen.
good enough to be true, but they do alarm you saying something's happened to your account, contact us.
Correct.
And then again, don't click the link.
Right.
There's so much cyber. It's all pretty much cyber, except when they stole your wallet. That's,
Right. And what the thieves prey upon, unfortunately and sadly enough, are elderly people. Because elderly people are very trustworthy and they grew up in a time when they didn't have to worry about all of this stuff. And they also use scare tactics. They call up and say, oh, your grandson or your son who's serving off in the military overseas, something's happened to him or her, and you need to send us money in order to get this taken care of. And so they freak out and they send money, so where do I need to send it? How much do I need to send?
I read online your mission statement, in your vision statement to be recognized as the primary New Mexico organization to support victims of ID theft. That's your vision statement to do that, and your mission, of course, is to prevent it through education. So we've all heard, Mark, ways to prevent crime, and of course, number one is review your credit report quarterly. I don't do that. Do people? I mean, how? They say to do it, but.
Everybody is entitled to a free credit report. You go into annualcreditreport.com. You click the Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and you request all three of your credit reports. Off of that website, you can print out your credit reports and review the information on them.
So it's annualcreditreport.com.
Correct. Yes.
It's simple.
Very simple.
Simple.
Now, I say it's simple. They're going to ask you questions that only you will know. Like, where did you live in 1985? What address did you live? They're going to ask you personal questions that only you, and if you accidentally get one of those questions wrong, then you won't be able to pull your credit reports. But don't panic. There's a form that you can send in and request the credit report by mail. And our organization has that form. You can call one of the credit reporting agencies, look up their 800 number, and they can send it to you.
You can call them. It's simple to call, and they can send you the credit report.
Yes.
If again you give them correct.
Now, one thing, yeah, you can call the credit reporting agency and say, you know, I need a copy of my credit report, but I need it mailed to me. Can you send me the form, or can you?
Okay.
Yeah, get.
Once you get it, what should you look for?
You look for accounts that you know you didn't open. You look to make sure look for anything on the credit report that you know you didn't do, you didn't that you weren't responsible for. Make sure your address is correct, make sure the name is correct, make sure the accounts that you have listed on the credit report are actually accounts that you have, you know, your credit card accounts or any accounts that you have or had in the past. Make sure look for any discrepancies.
If you find them, Mark Medley, what should you do? If you find discrepancies.
If you find discrepancies, you can call the credit reporting agencies, or there's a letter. I have a book here. It's called Identity Theft or Recovery.
Want to show that to the
Recovery Plan. It's from the Federal Trade Commission. You can request the booklet if you go into identitytheft.gov, and in the book, in the back of the book, it has sample letters that you can send. There's a sample letter that you for the credit reporting agency if there's a discrepancy on your credit report, and there's a letter if you're getting calls from a debt collector about a debt that you're not responsible for, and there's a about identity theft, about fraudulent information on your account or fraudulent information on an account that was opened in your name.
Or they can call Mark Medley at
can
ID Theft Resolutions, correct?
Correct.
They can contact online. When they go online, can they contact you via that?
Yes, you can idtheftresolutions.org is our website, or you can call us at 505-417-1902, and we also have a toll-free number of 888-484-9118.
But again, easiest if they go online to find, and all of that information is there.
That's correct.
Going to run through, and we're running out of time already. Keeping your Social Security private, blah, 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 canceled, compromised accounts, blah, blah, blah. What do you think is one of the most important things that people really don't realize? And we've heard of all these things, but what?
As far as protecting yourself against identity theft, well, the two most important things, shred anything, shred your documents that have any information on them. Buy a shredder, shred all of your personal information, documents that have personal information on it. Also, again, you can contact Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian and put a security freeze on your credit report. That will stop anybody who, if they get a hold of your Social Security number, from opening up a line of credit or using your Social Security number in any way. Now, it'll also stop you from using it also, so if you need to buy something or if you need to use your Social Security number to open up a line of credit, you'll have to contact the credit reporting agency and have them lift the security freeze. I just did this not too long ago. It's very easy. You give them the dates that you want it lifted, and so they lift it from, for a week or however many days you want it lifted, and then at the end of that period, the security freeze automatically goes back onto your credit report, and it's free. There's no charge for it.
So you should contact all three.
Well, yeah, you can contact all three of them, but a lot of times, and this is what happened in my case, they said, okay, we're going to pull your Equifax report to check your credit for this transaction. So I just contacted Equifax and put the security freeze on that particular credit report.
Anything, Mark, I mentioned at the beginning of the program, just kind of to scare the viewers. Thieves, identity thieves, are stealing people's homes.
They steal anything.
They'll steal anything. But I mean, they can get the deed and steal it. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of this, yes. It's all a matter of making sure your personal information is secure, is put away securely. Put the protections on. Oh, here's another tip. When you go to the post office, don't drop your mail into an outside mailbox. Take your mail into the post office and deposit it into the mailbox inside the post office. About 6 months ago, I went to the post office that I go to, and I noticed that the post office box was gone outside.
They took the whole thing.
And I asked the postman inside. He said, "Oh yeah, last night somebody put chains onto the thing
and tore it,
and just tore it right out of the ground."
And I've got a warning regarding these rebate checks New Mexicans will be receiving. And again, this is money that you pay into. You know, the government is giving us money back. Well, it's your money to begin with. Actually, it's a lot of the oil and gas industry's money that they're cutting checks for $500, $1,000, giving back to help pay for gas in this horrible inflation. Be careful of your mailbox, because I know in my neighborhood, when income tax checks are returned, again, that's your money just being returned to you, and now these rebate checks, thieves go around and open all the mailboxes if you don't have this secure, or they'll steal it. So that's a little tip that I have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Mark, we've got just a minute left. How can people contact you?
Okay. Again, our website, idtheftresolutions.org, our phone number, 505-417-1902, or toll free 888-484-9118.
Very good. And there's so much more that I haven't covered in this short program, but we do thanks Issues and Answers and KCHF TV for bringing you this public affairs program to help us all keep safe. And Mark Medley, I do appreciate you, so thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you for having me on.
Maybe you'll come back again and
Absolutely.
Tell us more. There's more. And sorry for scaring you folks, but when I looked at his webpage and I was researching this, I got scared. I mean, I'm not checking my credit reports and I'm not changing my passwords, because they're so hard to remember as often as we should. But that's another tip for all of us. I've taken more notes, and I'm going to take some more action right after the program. Thanks for watching. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, helped me pay for my house. Being part-time really helped because I could have some opportunities that were still in education.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.